Hello, everyone, and welcome to Storm Talk for today. Although, really not going to see a lot of storms out of the setup for this alert day that's going to be kicking in later this afternoon tonight into the overnight hours. And then I'll talk more about the longer term as well. In fact, there's a lot to talk about today. The blog really could have gone many ways on its title because I think I may and I will have to switch it to storm or snow talk very, very soon. We're about to get into a true battle of the seasons and a lot of quick changes. And you may have noticed we got a second alert day that's out for next Friday. And there is the potential that we're going to add 1 to maybe 2 more alert days to this weather pattern. And that's how wild it looks like it's going to get. So I'm going to try to be thorough today, but I also want to be brief because coming up in 25 minutes, there will be a live presser about the Clifton explosion, the tragic event there that took 2 lives. And injured others. There's going to be a special report on that. So that'll be streaming and it will be on TV as well. Again, coming up at 10 o'clock, an update from Metro government and the mayor on that situation. So I'm going to make sure that I rush through this quick enough to where they can get back on here for that stream. So I hope you guys can understand that, right? Okay. So let's get right to it. We'll start with the view there into Huber's Orchard and Winery, where we've got an increasing sky. It's becoming overcast, and that will be the case throughout the day as we get our boundary to move in. And it's more of a warm front, cold front type of deal. You see the high clouds streaming in now. So if you still have errands you need to run between now and midday and early this afternoon, you're fine. You don't have any issues at all. Nice and quiet, actually. But you can see the split that is happening on the different 2 surges, really. This round, if you want to call it a warm front, it's the best way to describe it. It's more of a moisture front. This first wave is what's going to arrive for rush hour. This was our main concern, is having rainfall rates that are going to get more intense than what you see here by the time it gets to Louisville. Having that at 5, 6 p.m., it just doesn't go well here. All right, so we're trying to keep these alert days much more on impact than a warning setup or severe weather setup, and sometimes that will be the case. But there will be other times like today that we feel from growing up here and living here and watching how these events float out, we know when situations just cause problems. It doesn't always mean it's dangerous, but it can just cause an issue in your day and your plan. So that's why this is flagged, and that's the reason right there for at least part of it will be the rush hour rain. Then as we head into the mid to late evening, it's the actual cold front that is also going to expand and become relatively heavy too, with its bands of showers and storms. Now they'll begin to merge together a bit more this tonight. You may not be able to tell a difference between the 2, but they both will work together as a team because the low-level jet, which will start to kick in at about 5 o'clock today, once that jet kicks in, the rainfall intensity really ramps up, and you're really just going to hear it pour outside tonight. And if your yard is prone to flooding, this is a setup that is certainly going to allow for flooding in your yards, hydroplaning, that kind of ordeal. So severe weather, not overly concerned with here because the air is dry now and just now getting saturated. And by the time it gets saturated, it's too rainy to allow for instability and fuel to get involved in so you don't get thunderstorms. Now, you can get rumbles of thunder with a low-level jet like that moving in. You bet. You can still get some thunder out of that, but it'd be more the rolling thunder instead of the crackling thunder that you guys are used to hearing. So you can see the moisture fields being pulled up from the south and along the front. So it's two together, again, merging as one as we head into tonight. So let me walk you through it. We'll go hour by hour. You can see on Futurecast, we've got the showers moving in. Here's the rush hour band, loosely 4 to 5 o'clock. And it'll be up in Indiana, too. So it'll be just kind of a blob and a line that will move in, a little ragged. And there is still some dry air. So the leading edge of that, kind of like Pac-Man, is going to eat at the leading edge of the first heavier rain band. Now, that's not going to last very long, maybe 20 minutes of the impact of Pac-Man. But eventually, the rain and the moisture levels will win and override that, and then we get the heavy rain. But at the very beginning, maybe a lighter rain initially. But it won't take long. It won't take long. And so it's 4:30, and this is the snapshot. Again, models are going to get this exact. We'll be able to time this out a little more on our newscast when we have the radar up on the screen. But you get the idea that we've got this band moving through. All right, you see that little bit of a break. It happens because there is still a slight separation between the warm front and the cold front. But by the time we get into about 10 o'clock, you can't even identify the two because they've congealed together. But this is the cold front portion now moving in with another round of heavier rain. And then after that, as we head toward rush hour tomorrow, it's more just spotty rain. But there is a lobe that comes in behind this, all right, the backlash, if you will. That should be just drizzle for the afternoon. But if we get any sun, they could develop small hail and power up to a little bit of lightning. But the sun would have to come out. If we stay overcast, it would just be drizzle throughout the day there on Thursday. But there are some hints of some breaks, so at least want to be cautionary on that. And then we stay relatively cloudy and maybe foggy all the way into Friday. So it's going to take a while to get back into that beautiful sky that we've been so accustomed to as of late. All right, let me check your comments, make sure everyone's good. Everyone's good. Yep, we have alert next Friday, Joseph. Okay. Give us some snow, please, DJ says. All right. Well, we'll come to that in a second. All right. So what's next? Well, rainfall amounts. This is another issue. You're going to get a broad area of 1 to 2, and the 2-inch is in yellow, and it has varied on models. Some have it spiking more south of Louisville, some just north of Louisville, right into Louisville. They vary. And the reason why they vary is, as you saw on the radar, you've got a very blob-looking setup for warm front, cold fronts, blobby, if you will. So it's not a definitive line or complex that usually is easy to time out and pan out the amounts of rainfall. This is very blotchy. Some cases, you got the heavier showers. They'll be taller than others, therefore they can produce heavier rain, and then they'll collapse. It'll be kind of like playing whack-a-mole at the fair. That's kind of what these clouds will be doing. They'll be popping up as they move through. And every time they pop up, if you're underneath one, you're getting a heavier rain band. But it doesn't stay tall for long. Someone whacks a mole and knocks it back down again. So if that makes sense. I don't think I've ever used whack-a-mole for a weather analogy. No, well, there's always first. But you get the idea. Rain tonight. So all I'll need to say. It's going to rain. All right. So what's next? So I'm glad you asked. Well, we do get a quiet weekend. Good. I like that. Doesn't last long because then we've got to deal with two different things. First off, a low pressure is going to roll on out as we head into Tuesday. Now, at the same time, we're going to have Hurricane Sarah that is going to be in the Gulf of Mexico. We have a low in the Midwest and a front moving through. Now, here's the question we've got, and this is the Euro. Will there be thunderstorms developing along this front as it moves in? The wind fields, absolutely, are on board for a possible severe setup for Tuesday. Moisture levels, questionable. Timing, questionable, because timing at night would decrease the storm potential. But it's a very interesting setup with a hurricane and a storm potential and then snow on the northern side. All 1, 2, 3 lined up there. Again, this is Tuesday. If we see a signal, I'm going to look more at the data coming in. If the signal is there to hold on to a severe risk, this could be flagged as an alert day as well for Tuesday afternoon. Okay, that's really our only thunderstorm setup that we're looking at. After that, the polar vortex, at least a piece of it and modified, comes for a visit. First visit of the year. And early, it arrives Friday into Saturday with a backlash of rain and snow showers. And more on that in just a second. Let me show you the GFS. Very similar idea. You're going to get your low. It's going to roll out. Here is Sarah. Here is the low in the Midwest, and here is the front. And look at the timing. About the same. Hey, GFS and Euro getting along. Nice to see that. And again, it's a 1, 2, 3 ordeal. So there is nearly excellent agreement on at least the global models on how this will play out. So again, it's all about the parameters to see whether or not severe can develop, but it is certainly trending that way. So we'll see how that works out. Let's see. Everyone, the sun will come out tomorrow. Okay, all right. You guys are silly. All right, so after this moves by, here's what the GFS does. Polar vortex, windy, and yes, snow. And I haven't done it yet, but because today is a busy day for us in news and weather. But tomorrow, there's a good chance that I'll have something on the snowboard for the first time this season, and that would be next weekend. Maybe. That's your tease. I'll show you why in a second. Here's the polar vortex. Watch what happens. You'll look over there toward Alaska on the west coast. You'll see the stretching of the polar vortex, and then you'll see it break free here at the last couple of frames there. It's real slow. Sorry. Breaks free and then settles right in that gray area, settles right into the Ohio Valley. So it breaks free from it. It's not the core of the polar vortex. It's a piece of it, and it's modified because there's not a lot of snow on the ground yet. So that's the reason why it's cold air, but it's not anything brutal. Just enough to put the S word into talk, right? All right, real quick on the severe side here, CSU on the analogs for the severe weather, for AI. And notice, here's Tuesday, the bottom middle box, and it is highlighting that severe potential. So it is certainly something worth watching. As far as indicators to get colder, here is the Arctic oscillation again. The black lines you're watching, if it's above the black line, we are going to see the polar vortex locked up and we stay warm. If it goes below the black line, then it is split off or on the move. In this case, it splits off. And sure enough, the Arctic oscillation with the circles is the most recent run. The previous circles are the previous runs, or other circles are the smaller ones. So the most recent run takes us negative as we head toward next weekend. That's indicator number one. We get into the EPO, the East Pacific Oscillation. It needs to be negative to allow for the jet in the Pacific Ocean to calm down a bit, to allow us for a blocking pattern. Sure enough, it tanks negative at that time. We get into the North Atlantic Oscillation. This is a blocking pattern for a Greenland. It needs to be negative to slow the jet stream down to allow for a colder pattern, especially with the polar vortex breaking free. It too goes negative at the time of next weekend. We look at the Pacific North American Oscillation. You're thinking, oh no, it's negative, and it goes positive. Oh, that's not good. Actually, this one is the opposite. If it goes above the line, it is an indicator of a trough or a digging of colder air, in this case, for the eastern United States. So the teleconnections, guys, all line up. So confidence is high on a colder setup toward next weekend. And the noise right now from the EPS, from the Euro, for the different ensembles for the snow around the 23rd of November, 21st, 23rd, is getting noisier. I'm not looking at the numbers. I don't care about that. I want to see how much of this fills in. And if this starts to fill in more, here we go. The fun and games start to arrive. All right. Enough of that. I'll go into more detail tomorrow after this rain event. Here's the 10-day earliest alert as we stand now. And you can see we've got the alert day again today for the rain and the mess coming into play as we head into the afternoon. If you're going to decorate, Virginia, I saw your comment. This weekend is it to decorate. I highly recommend, if you want to put your lights up on your home, you don't have to turn them on, but if you want to get that decorating done, do it this weekend. Because after this weekend, the weather gets, well, just wild. It gets a little more interesting as we head down the road, and I don't want you guys to be caught off guard. All right, I have to run, obviously, again, our special reports regarding the explosion in the Clifton area with 2 tragically killed in that incident. The presser is at about 10 minutes or so away from beginning. It will be on TV, but also streaming here on the app and on social. So please, I hope that you guys tune in for that. And our thoughts and prayers for all the families, for those that are involved there. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys coming up at midday today, where we will obviously have a little more on the situation there. And also, I'll have an updated look at the radar views as well. All right, guys. Take care. Love you. See you soon.